Begin transmission. Time machine active in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Finding Light Part 2, The Revenge. Excellent. All right, without further ado, let's introduce the creator and executive producer, Trevor Crafts. Well, the co-creator and executive producer, Trevor Crafts. Please come on up. Matthew Daly, the head writer. Thomas Williford, one of Lantern City's creative collaborators. And an exhibitor here at DragonCon, I may add. And I suppose you're waiting for somebody else, right? I know. Please welcome the other co-creator and executive producer. You all know him, Bruce Boxleitner. Yeah, you really can't see anybody. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a really simple question that I'm sure is on everybody's minds. What is Lantern City?
Well, Lantern City is a brand new, fully steampunk television drama. It's a 1-hour drama, and it's a show that really... Hi, Mike. Hello. There we are. It's a 1-hour steampunk drama that really focuses on a very simple question. How far would you be willing to go to be with the person that you love the most? So it's really, even though we've set this world of Lantern City as a steampunk environment, it's really about love, it's about survival, and it's about really pushing yourself to find out how far you can go, what you're capable of when you're put into an absolutely fantastic situation. So the show is a very wide arc, much like a Babylon 5 or a Game of Thrones. We really have, does anybody like Babylon 5? Yeah, there's like 3 people in here. That's good. That's best. I think that's best. Probably best. So anyway, so that's the show. We're working on everything right now. It's all in development, as you guys know. So it's the beginning of a very exciting journey.
Excellent. So, Trevor, how did the idea for Lantern City come about?
It's actually an idea that I had a number of years ago. Again, thinking about, if you loved somebody so much that you were willing to throw away everything that you thought was real, everything that you knew was true, not just how far you're going to go distance-wise, like, getting on a plane, but really just being willing to throw away absolutely everything that you know to be reality in order to see this person for one more minute. And that was kind of the core of the idea of the story. And then Bruce and I had done a few other projects together and had worked on a comedy western called Smokewood, Nevada, which is sort of a combination between Tombstone, Smokewood fans, I love it, between The Office and Tombstone. And it's good, it's funny. We got to be good friends, and I sort of thinking about somebody that I could bring in to help me, and not just some random person, but somebody that really understood a lot about the genre, also had great writing. Obviously, Bruce has written some great books in Frontier Earth, and finding a real true partner that I could work on this, because it's a big project, it's a big show. There's a lot of characters, there's a lot of depth, and there's a lot of big stuff. So that was when I brought Bruce in.
And we got together, and when Trevor told me about this, I've always known about steampunk. Now, a lot of you out here are probably you've been into it for a very long time. I just know what I like, what I saw, and it always fascinated me. I've always been interested in alternate history. I've read many authors over the years, even during when Mira and I, where are you now? Right there, okay. When we were doing Babylon 5, I was always reading, Harry Turtledove, whomever, the alternate history, and we actually had some of that in our saga of Babylon 5. But my experience with Babylon 5, I immediately thought of that.
Yeah.
And I think Trevor kind of keyed into that too. And I thought, you know, I was saying in previous panels that Babylon 5 I don't believe could be done today. But I think this one could. And this is my very reason. You're all familiar with steampunk, you know it. But walk out onto the general street, maybe not here in Atlanta this weekend. But anywhere. I walked up to Mira. Mira, I'm picking on you, darling. But I said, do you know what steampunk is? And she looked at me going, what? And that's it. I said, beautiful, that's exactly what I want. In Hollywood, we have taken you everywhere. In television and films, you've been on planets, you've been under the sea, wherever. I don't think, if my memory serves me right, that Hollywood has taken you to an actual steampunk universe, a world.
Not a good one.
Not a good one. I'm not talking about the Wild Wild West, the movie. Actually, the original Wild Wild West was one of the best steampunks. If not the first one, where I was really kind of aware, where it kind of, I didn't know that word, it wasn't there yet, but I loved the whole idea of it. And so I think this is where we're at. I want to take you, the general audience, mainstream audience television, to a world of steampunk. Full on, straightforward. A darker one, perhaps. I know there's a lot of sort of humor in steampunk as well. That will not be Lantern City, okay? There's no jokes here. Picture Boardwalk Empire in a steampunk world.
I think I got it.
I think there's some
Matt,
appeal
will you
there.
write that down, please?
And then write down, ooh.
Yeah, take
Yeah,
that
that too.
quiz later.
But that's in my mind's eye. So we sat together at my house, and Trevor had this out, and we talked, and we just, what did we do? We
It was
just
a grueling
hammered through
9.5 hours
of
of development.
And I got very, very excited. I mean, I have a model of the Nautilus from Disney's 1954, I believe, release of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I've always been a fan of Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, Victorian futurism, you know? And this was an opportunity to bring something to the mainstream audience, which is what my job is in television anyway, where they had take them to a place where they'd never been. And then we had to find the man who had the words. And I want to introduce this young man here, Matthew Daly, and all those 9 hours that we pounded out these characters.
Yeah.
This man, and I have to say I've worked under a lot of great writers, one with sort of 3 initials. It's phenomenal, and I think I've found the next one. And his name is Matthew Daly, and he fleshed these characters out just the way I saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. And I had not even met him yet. So,
Thomas, can you slide the microphone over to Merritt?
well, I'll give it to him because I'm done talking.
Thank you. Wow.
Matthew, what can you tell us about the story that you were in your 9-hour session for and what we can expect?
Well, interestingly enough, it started out as a comedy, but I'm incapable of humor. So I said we had to go dark, and they were fine with that. It was very interesting because I got about a 10-page, single-spaced Microsoft Word outline of what they wanted. And as a writer for hire, my job is to give them what they want. And I conversed with both of them with my own ideas, and they loved it. And I just really was influenced by some of the great, more recent, contemporary, character-driven, big world dramas, like A Boardwalk Empire, Game of Thrones, The Wire. That's not me. That's Mira, I think.
Made this big announcement. The one person.
Yeah. And so, besides that, though, I really love science fiction that creates a place, whether that be a city or a world, that seems so realistic, like a Metropolis, like a Blade Runner, like a Dark City. So this was a great opportunity to do both
Like
things.
Babylon 5.
And like a Babylon 5. DVD royalties. And so this was a fantastic opportunity to really blend two things that I love. And the story is universal, and so far, I mean, what we've written is really great stuff. I'm not saying that because I wrote it, because it was really their ideas, but it's really been a tremendous experience so far. And I know it's going to be great when you guys get to finally see it.
Also, I just want to jump in real quick that, when you have a writer that you're working with, there's a certain synergy that happens and just sort of a clicking that works. And certainly that's true with Matt. I mean, the characters that he's developed, he took this, as you said, long outline that we gave, but just really flushed the characters out and also built so many more characters. And that's really a credit to Matt in terms of being able to take an idea and then run with it, because now it's not just our idea, it's, in terms of Bruce and I, it's all of our ideas, because Matt's really put, there's a good, it's like 40 different characters that have already have all their own backstories and all their own, hopes, wishes, and dreams through the storyline that get completely folded and unfolded as the story continues. So that's the exciting part, I think, also for us, is as we continue to develop it, we can continue to bring everybody in on all the new characters and new things that we're doing.
Yeah. Now, to actually, again, ask you the question. So I assume Lantern City is an actual city in a world, right?
Is it?
Yes.
This one's for me. This is for you.
Yeah, that's.
We can all answer that.
Okay.
Share, Mike.
Yes.
Okay. So with this expanding cast, can you give us a hint of some of the cast members you would see in the story?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but we have our 4 primary characters, and a lot of the interesting things with this world is that it's really divided into 3 levels. We have the ruling empire in this parallel world called the Grey Empire, and there are people. It's a small percentage of the population, but they rule over the millions of people that live there. And there's the biggest class is the working class people who do the farming, who work in the factories. And then there's an underground movement that's been building. And that is a very sinister world. There's good people that get caught up in that. But I had to create everything. I mean, who is policing these people? Who cooks for these people? And all that stuff. So it was really a fun time. And there's 40 characters now, but there will be hundreds eventually.
A city full.
Yeah, because it's a city. It's the last remaining city in this parallel world. So you're taking 4 other cities, populous, and you're bringing them into one place, and it's a cheesy thing to say, but it's a melting pot. And people get caught. People don't get caught up in the upper class necessarily. There's very little to no upward mobility, but you can get caught up in the underground, or you can get sort of stuck in the middle class. But we've got characters moving throughout all 3 of those places, and there's some interaction, and it's pretty exciting.
And I think also, and Thomas can speak to this, as well, is that I think from a design perspective, it's interesting because we're seeing a lot of different kinds of steampunk, social strata. So you've got a very elite look with the upper class. You have sort of a more shabby look with the workers, and then really almost more like on the airship pirate side of design for the for this underground movement. So there's a lot of different looks and things.
And also that the Grey Empire is founded by the Grey family. Do that. Oh, I don't need a microphone.
The Grey family?
The Grey family, yeah. You might want to elaborate a little more on that, but Killian Gray, who is a very enigmatic character. Take it away, Matthew.
So, and a little bit of the backstory is that the city was in great danger of being taken over like the other 4 cities in this world, and they had a very enigmatic leader by the name of Isaac Foster Gray, who came and sort of built this wall around the city and helped protect the city. Now it's 4 generations later, and his great-great-grandson is now running things, and he's a very charismatic, it's almost like a Bruce Wayne character, but he's really in it for the wrong reasons, and he's a very fun character to write. He's going to be a great character to see, because you're never going to know if you can trust him, you're never going to know if you love him or hate him, and we'll also make sure to get someone really sexy to play him.
Yeah, those characters we had here, these were just sort of models.
So,
No, I mean, it's true. I mean, all the characters are represented in the trailer, and Killian, the last one, I mean, his line, "I'll watch them kill themselves to get what was never theirs to have," really sums up the sort of sinister nature of his character.
Yeah.
There's a lot of political intrigue, there's a lot of sort of posturing, and you find out, you know, through these characters, you know, Max, who is a stockbroker in our world, you know, and he is sort of tested physically in Lantern City. Rachel, who's a painter and a sculptress in our world, in Lantern City has to live on the streets. Ellington is a cop. He's the lead detective in our world, and he has to go back to his criminal roots to you know, to survive in Lantern City. And Killian's probably the most two-faced of all of them. He's this, like Matt said, incredibly charismatic character, but he's pretty much as evil as they come. So that, you know, again, on the, you know, designing these characters, writing these characters, it's all, you know, it's all great stuff.
and I know, Bruce, you touched on the love for steampunk earlier, but now, why is steampunk essential to this story, and how did it inform the creative process?
Well, I mean, I think we said earlier that, I mean, I've always been fascinated with it. I didn't see enough of it, and I started doing cons. That sounds strange, doesn't it? Going to conventions.
He's a convention.
And seeing this, and it kind of sparked my imagination about it, but I didn't know enough about it. Regrettably, I didn't take the time to actually read up on it enough, but I just knew what I liked. I knew what looked so fascinating. And I'll go back again, it's just something that, you know, you've got a great little cult thing going here. It's not so little, okay. But I think its time has come. Interesting thing, he sent me a number of weeks ago, where did you find that thing about Prada? They had like an ad, advertisement.
The menswear collection, where
Menswear collection. It said Prada for the spring or whatever for the summer goes steampunk, and there was these four gentlemen standing there in these incredible looking clothes, and it was Gary Oldman, Garrett Hedlund of Tron, of Legacy, Jamie Bell, and Willem Dafoe. And I said, oh my God, there's our A-list cast right there. They even have their own wardrobe. So, you know what I'm saying? And I went, boom, my imagination just went, and you know, you sent it to me. We both just went blowing up there. And that's why steampunk, it's just so interesting, so varied. I'm going to let Tom talk about this in a minute, and also we have this community out here, you all, that makes your stuff. Look at the unending amount of imagination that can be brought to this. I wanted something to show people they'd never seen before. You guys are it.
Well, how many of you guys saw the showcase yesterday? You got to your showcase?
I didn't get to.
The folks at Lantern City on their Facebook page, you can see some of the shots they took from there, as some great examples of the local folks making things. But speaking of one of the more talented makers, Thomas Wilford.
Good segue.
Thomas, absolutely fantastic work. How were you roped into this, and what is exactly the role of the creative collaborators?
We have pictures.
Roped in, blackmail.
That he does not want to have up.
Actually, my lovely lady Clankington, who many of you have heard of, is my girlfriend, and she said, "Thomas, you got this email?" And I said, "Yeah, stop pulling my leg, okay? Come on, yeah. We keep getting all these emails. I'm going to make a steampunk movie in my backyard, and it's going to be awesome. And we've got a whole $12 budget." And so I said, "Yeah, right." And then I finally looked at it and said, "Oh, well, yeah, this guy, that guy there, yeah." And then I started, and I Google stalked the rest of them, and them too. We started talking, and I am not someone who can actually be bought. If they said, "Oh, here's a bunch of money, make this look like this," and it would look like crap, I just wouldn't do it. I'm kind of like, well, you want it to look good, right? And you want it to look like this, and that's what I did. So when they came, actually, these two guys here came to my house, to my shop, and they said, what do you got? That type of thing. Showing them around, and they wanted some props and stuff. I did a lot of the props that were on here. In fact, that's one of them right there. This was originally
Loaded, by the
yes.
None of you leaves the room.
Yes.
Mira, make sure your cell phone's off.
It's called the obliterator. That type of thing. But they said, hey, that gun that you don't know how to put together and you've kept in a drawer for a year, can we have that for Thursday? Oh, sure, yeah. And they went away and I was like, oh, God. Yeah, right. And then of course, it arrived. And thankfully, they got to them and they said, yay. But I want I think my part, and there's some other great artists, Joey, Art,
Tom
Banwell. There's Tom, yes. Tom Banwell, look these guys up. They have some incredible stuff.
For those of you at home that aren't familiar with those names, that's Tom Banwell, Art Donovan, Joey Marcosi, otherwise known as Dr. Grimm. That'll be much easier to search for Dr. Grimm.
Yeah.
G-R-Y-M-M. And those are your other cohorts in crime?
Correct, all four, yeah.
Yeah. But our job is to keep it steampunk. They did something amazing here. They did not say, let's get our Hollywood guys to go online, look up steampunk, and then they'll make their thing. They searched for people who are already there and said, we want you to bring what you've already got into this world, and opened the door and said, welcome to Lantern City. And that's what they did.
That's his line, I think.
Exactly the lines, Tom.
Does Art make all the lamps?
Yes.
He will,
Yes.
yeah.
Fantastic. Art's gonna make all the lighting. All the lighting.
Oh, that is awesome.
And also, it's just great to have real working artists helping with the script, because I sent, everyone's read it, they've had great feedback, and if you give this guy a morsel of an idea, he's going to literally build you a mountain. This guy has just boundless energy and great ideas, and he'll challenge me all the time, which is very good, which I need. He's like, well, how are they going to do it? How are they going to get the fuel for the airship? So, I don't know. But he's great, and I can't really invite people over to his house, but you should check it out, because it's a mad scientist lab in the basement. It's awesome.
And I think also, part of it is that, being first is hard, because you're really trying to blaze a trail. And for us, it was very important, something Bruce and I talked about literally from day one, was to make sure that we were not going to be the guys that screwed up a truly great genre of science fiction. We were not going to be those guys, and we're not going to be those guys.
Yeah, I didn't want to be this Hollywood Well, we didn't want to be these, couple of Hollywood yahoos walking into your world going, hey, we're going to reinvent it all for you and make you popular.
Right. Yeah, good point.
You know what I'm saying?
We're already the Eurotrash of nerddom on our own. We're good.
And that's what we love about you.
We're prettier than the rest of you.
I was convinced when I saw Bruce clutching this poster from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea as if death itself were coming for him. No, I found it. It's mine. I was like, okay, he's legit.
This was all at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
It's such a huge. We launched it at first, got a great reaction. But we do want to emphasize, though, that the maker community we want to encourage. We're asking, please come with your designs and
Bruce, are you reading off
ideas.
of my questions before I'm asking them? Because I was about to get into that. Well, that's exactly what Thomas was talking about earlier about activating the community, and you're already getting onto it. The big question that I know a lot of folks are going to ask is how are the community going to be involved? What's the process going to be like, and how are you going to let them into the creative process?
The nice thing is we've already started. If you go to lanterncitytv.com, you can sign up on our Workers Unite forum, and there's a lot of people that have already started to post. I saw some people just last night at the Gadgeteer Showcase that had already posted a lot of work, and I know that it can also, like I was saying about being first, it's a new idea. One of the things that's so great about steampunk, and I was saying to Bruce and Matt before, I don't think you can do this with any other genre of science fiction, because no other genre of science fiction has the talent and the imagination of the people that are here in this room right now. because you can't find another group of people that can put together the truly fantastic props and design work that Steampunk's been doing for a very long time. And having your help in bringing things into production, once we start production, which is hopefully going to be very soon, we will, we're everybody that submitted work online, we're going to pull the best of the best, and we're going to actually feature those on the show. So everybody that's here has the opportunity to actually have their work showcased in a specific scene of an episode of Lantern City. And the nice thing is, it's going to be a long series, and we need a lot of help from everybody that's out there to put everything in there. Yeah, 5 years. We're going for 5.
Hold it.
I'm going to use the
I did that one already. 5-season arc. No, we'll go for as long as they want us.
I've already been quoting Community, 6 seasons in a movie. Yeah. Just saying. All right,
Okay,
we can do that
6.
too.
I gotta break that 5.
All right, speaking of the community, now it's time for all of you. Again, reminding you all, we got 2 folks on either side. Please raise your hands if you have questions, and someone will be coming to you. And we're going to start off with that side over there. Paige, please pick the first victim.
Hello, my name is Bree, and first of all, absolutely amazing. I'm so excited I actually got into here.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah, but we were wondering, we are with the Extraordinary Contraptions, a local Atlanta steampunk band. We were wondering if you've given any thought to music, and if not, we have some CDs.
I know that band, baby. You're not in it.
No,
But
I'm
you're
not.
working the
love
table,
that.
and you are
They're overplaying, so they send them
you
minions.
are their best minion ever. Way to shamelessly plug. Fantastic.
I admire that pluck.
And yeah,
Very
that's the important part, is that it's not just, we want this to be an open community forum so that everybody who has an idea can come. We don't want this to be totally blocked out. And this is obviously, honestly, this is going to scare some studio executives that, and I really don't care, that we are opening this up to a huge group of people, and we want people to submit. So having the, yeah, absolutely, we'd love to take free stuff.
All right, folks, keep your hands up, or start on the other side. John, do you have somebody? I really can't see a thing.
Yes, I got a question. You said that there is, other side, over here.
Okay.
You said that there is really no Hollywood steampunk going on right now. But I'm curious, did y'all pull any inspiration from like animes, Trigun, Metropolis, anything like that? Or did y'all just
Go for it.
No.
Have y'all seen any?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen them all.
We've seen, Steam Boy, which was, a number of years ago, and I mean, there's a lot of, I think anime's probably done it more correctly than a lot of other normal mainstream genres, but to Matt's point, no.
All right, over here.
Okay, I have a question.
See, only a huge plume.
Hi, Anita.
Hello. I've been on the forums, but at least when I was initially on there, it seemed to talk a lot about props.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those of us who, for instance, enjoy designing costuming?
We want it all. I mean, there's a huge cosplay section there that I think people have done a lot of. I know that RJ had some of his work on there as well. So I mean, there's people that have full costumes on there. Absolutely,
Right.
Costumes, all of it.
Absolutely. It's going to be
Absolutely.
incredibly important, these costumes.
Yeah.
The part of it is that, like props, I know there was talk about using the actual props that someone made.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to costuming, if something is kind of custom made for a particular figure, you can't really
Sure.
put that onto other people. I mean, designs, yes, but the actual functional pieces.
Well, I mean, I think that I really encourage you to post as well, because the nice thing is once we do go into production, we'll have a full creative staff of builders and makers that are also working with us. So absolutely, please do.
All right, and a costume that's actually made, that shows that it can be made. Someone just shows us a drawing, it's held on by an overactive imagination. We can see that it fits
Yeah.
you, then we go, oh, wait a minute, And that's how that information will be transferred to here.
Hi, my question is about design. The aesthetic looks great and beautiful, very genuine. I was wondering also, though, that there's a deeper element underneath just look, but also function. You know, everybody loves goggles, but do they actually serve a purpose for certain characters, certain situations? What work, if any, I hope you've done some, on kind of the tech and the function of the artistic part of it?
That's totally a Tom answer. And I know the answer, but I'll let him answer.
Yeah, actually, Matthew and I have also been talking about that the technology is its own character in here, and we can't give away what that technology is going to be yet. But it will not be magic crystals or anything like that. It will make sense. I'm an ex-physicist. If it doesn't make sense, my head will explode.
I see a whole lot of hands raised on that side. Paige, can you get the next two, and then...
I'm wondering if, what do you think if Victorian had the technology back then in Victorian times, what technology would be like nowadays?
Let me just make sure I understand your question. So if they would have had this technology that the steampunk world was created back in Victorian times, what would our technology be like now?
Yeah.
I think the best answer would be a time-traveling DeLorean. No, that's a fantastic question, and I think that I don't know that anyone really has a great answer, but that's something. You look young, right? Yes, you're young. I'm going to goggles. He's got goggles too, which is good. I'm going to encourage you to really explore that on your own too. Get out there and write, whether that be a book or a screenplay or something. But that's a fantastic question. It is. But I still hope it's a time traveling DeLorean.
Sit down.
Goodbye.
Fantastic hat, by the way. I like that.
We made it.
Way to go.
Very good.
Ideally, do you have an idea of where you want to shoot?
I know where Bruce wants to shoot. Tahiti. But which makes perfect sense. No, there's so many great options, and we're still pretty open. I mean, most likely on the West Coast, but Bruce keeps dropping New Zealand and London
All
and
vacation spots.
He wants to add his frequent flyer miles. Yeah.
Wet Top, Peter Jackson's.
Detroit might be an option.
Maybe.
You know what, that's going to depend, folks. We're not at a place where we can make that decision. I have the microphone. We're not at that place yet. We'll be glad anybody has an offer. If they want to shoot it in your backyard in Studio City.
Never can tell.
Okay, you never know.
I think what we're doing is we're probably...
I'm open to any place.
Vancouver's a great spot to shoot, certainly LA. Obviously, when you get into these sort of production questions, you talk about tax credits and all the other fun things.
Yeah, that's why Hollywood has left Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's in Louisiana, New Mexico, Romania,
Atlanta.
North
Carolina.
That's right, that's right. New Orleans. That option won't be up to us. It'll be up to whomever we sign on with and whoever is interested in us, and where do they, that's going to be big decisions there.
Yep. John, next question?
That was actually going to be part of my question. You mentioned that you hope to go into production soon. I'm wondering, is this still at the pitch stage? Is there a network you're hoping or looking at?
We have a couple people that are interested. I can't really talk about it now because we're sort of in the process. So, but yeah, soon this is going to start rolling. We're really excited.
Okay. Paige, your side? Wow. It really is just like nothing but shadowy nothingness on this side.
Okay, so I was just wondering if there would be anytime soon any roles, auditions for smaller parts, extras for non-union actors?
Again, that's sort of a production question when we get into it. I think there certainly are going to be some interesting options once we start production. And one of the things that's fun about building something new with a community of people that are great is that we can start utilizing people as, through, an audition process that may actually be very similar to the forum that we have now for props. We actually have talked about that a bit, sort of trying to pull, again, the community to do some additional work there. So stay tuned, it's all in the mix, as they say.
All right, we can take one more question on John's side of things.
Quick question about your proposed distribution. Syndication, HBO?
Couple on the table, but again, that's a depends on who.
Well, we're aiming high, let's just say that. I want to aim high, and I see HBO, and I'm going to give it a damn good try. I do not, wishfully, I do not see it on ABC, CBS, or NBC, or any of the other crap that's on. Sorry, I call it like I see it.
If you put it on Fox, it'll get canceled real quick.
Really? And on ABC, when I was on GCB, we made it 10 episodes and gone. No, I mean, I think my partners here and I, we're aiming high. Why not?
And we are talking to those people now. So it's as I said, it's a process, and we'll get it as soon as we have news. It's going to be everywhere, which is good. So one more thing, actually, if we have another.
Trevor actually has yet another sneak peek for you guys.
One more thing. These just came in, actually. So what we have to show you guys is our... Yeah, there they are. So this is from our conceptual designer. These are Cecil Kim and Justin Ewan, and they did all of the conceptual design work for all the God of War trilogy, and also for Thor, which, obviously. Whoa. So here is our first of two renderings. This is the first one, just one of the shots of one of the, you can see the social strata here of Lantern City. And then if we go to the next one, this is the Gray Tower. So again, this shot, you can sort of see, like Matt was talking about, the social strata. It just goes up and it goes all the way down to the literal underground. So you can see Killian up there, obviously sitting in his shining tower, looking down over the entire walled city, of Lantern City. So I mean, these are really actually even just in the sketch stage. So next week we're going to get other renderings and some more shots of the city and different cityscapes and things like that. So only other thing I think I'll say is, please, if you haven't, go to the Facebook page, become a fan, Twitter. We're just about to start up a Pinterest page and a Tumblr as well. So the nice thing is to really get as much of the community support as possible. So LanternCityTV.com is the place you can access all of that.
Will this teaser trailer and renderings be on LanternCityTV.com?
Yes, and
so all of these folks can say, nanny, 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 I saw it before you.
Absolutely, and yeah, so we're in the next couple of days. We're going to be posting the sketches. We're going to be posting the full renderings. We've got some great character sketches that are coming as well, and this is really the spot where you guys can continue to get the news and the updates when we don't, unfortunately, have you all with us in the panel together. So,
may I just add to that?
You may.
I come from the old school. We didn't do things this way before. You walked into an office, you sat down, you had a script, and he said, "Okay, kid, you got 5 minutes to tell me the story." And it was one person's decision. Now we have all of you and these new medias, and the young Hollywood, the young producers and studio heads are paying attention to you. Like I said before, we didn't have that. And it was one man's decision, a committee's decision, it was done. You can help that decision a great deal by going on our website, and participating. They listen, they look. They go to Twitter to see how popular you are, how many followers.
How many likes on Facebook.
How many likes on Facebook, precisely. It's still new to me. But I see it, I see the power of it, and you have it. And so.
Yeah, and I think just to close, this is our show. It's our show.
These people are seriously amazing. I'd like to give a big round of applause for the people here. And before you all think we're going to be gone, Trevor and Bruce and Matt and Thomas are going to be right across the hall in Augusta, and they will be giving away these posters signed to all of you that are willing to sit and wait in line again.
That's Augusta, Georgia.
Yes, 4 hours away, get in your bonus. But if you go right across the hall, there should be lines ready to receive you shortly, and they will be doing their best to sign as many posters as they can get through in an hour.
Us and say hi, and we love to see everybody and designs that you've brought and all that across the way.
Again, one last big round of applause. Thank you very much for coming.
I agree. Like I said, for us.
I wouldn't argue. I actually got a head on it.
No, that might not one. Well, you've got to see it very good, right?
You will.
I read the website. It was about 5 in the morning.
We really messed with it. That's why I was on the website. I wouldn't do that. That could have been dangerous, man.
John?
Coming.
Yeah.
They're gonna go.
We were maybe picking yourself up for some considerable
Believe me, we're well aware of that.
The funny thing is, it's been actually sort of on two directions with the terms of agreement. A lot of what we're looking at is sort of we are sort of opening ourselves up a little bit, but we're trusting in the community to really be a community. And then there's a lot of people that have posted and said, these terms I'm not posting because we're afraid you guys are going to steal our ideas.
Exactly.
So, I've tried to, as much as I can, I've tried to, we're about to do a new term and agreement, so our attorneys are actually just finalizing those documents so that we can actually have something that sort of shows that we're definitely not going to steal those ideas. And also, we're not
also don't want to be ripped off.
Yeah, but we're also
we have
we're not,
them on there, and then they suddenly go, I was giving you to this, and now suddenly I've got a bank of lawyers come walking in and going, you owe us this because.
But that's not. I think really what
I don't want to be that way.
A collection of cease and desist letters that turn out,
Exactly.
Right.
For the most part.
Good question, and
what we've got is a great community of people, I think, that really want to show their work, and I think, one of the things that I sort of think of it as is this huge multinational gallery show of great steampunk work, and that's ultimately, I think, what's going to be there for the full show as well, on a very broad scale.
Tell me a little bit about, at this point you don't have a solidified deal with anyone. And to make this is a devil's advocate question, to make a promise that we're not going to go and define steampunk, what it's going to be. At this point, is it possible that you would have to agree to a different art director or something,
I think that's one of the reasons why we have Tom and the other creative collaborators. At a certain degree, it is the team that you put together, and that's really the network that, as I said, we've been talking to a few networks. One of the things that we're looking for is the network that's going to understand our vision and understand the community's vision as well, and use that not as something to fight against, but something that we can really all work with. So, finding the right person, the right executive, the right team of people on the network side that's basically going to, showrunners and all that are going to come with us on what we've planned is really part of the key. So, to your question, we'll choose the art director that is going to work best with the project, and then, that person I'm sure will be an industry veteran of a lot of different, film,
we're not
television.
going to somebody outside the industry for that. We've got to have somebody, because.
Yeah, just because of the processes.
But it depends on who we're with. They're going to call a lot of the shots too. Believe me, we're not going to have it all our own way. There's a compromise in that.
now, do you plan on appearing in the show?
No.
Not at all? Not even campaign?
No.
He said to me earlier today that he really wanted to shoot a gun, a big steampunk gun. So somewhere in there, I guess maybe artillery captain or something. We're not sure yet, but we'll.
I really have no intention to. But if that was, it would depend.
My first experience with you as an actor on TV was Frank Buck.
Mm-hmm. I had a pith helmet too.
Yes, and I was going to say, not your first pith helmet.
No, it's not.
But you do a lot of period pieces, whether that's future or past.
But I look at this,
Yeah.
it's very much that too. That's why I've always been attracted to period pieces, history.
And if you, in terms of your vision, how much has the parts that you've played before played into your desire for this?
Well, my love for history, I played in a lot of historical genres, from the Western to the 1930s and 40s and 20s and 40s, and World War II things too. I've always been interested in history, but I've always been interested in alternate history. I discovered that somewhere around the early 90s. I know it's been around a lot longer. There was a book called Comes the Jubilee, and it was about the Civil War. It seems is a very common place for alternate history writers, because it's one of those great questions. What if it had gone the other way? What would we be like right now? It's one of the great books, and I just lost the author in my mind. Comes the Jubilee. Might be able to.
I'll Google it.
Just looking at it right there. Well, anyway, but that was the beginning. Harry Turtledove, I know. I loved Harry, the Guns of the South, and then How Few Remain, and many of his alternate world stories. And this was an opportunity to do that. You know, I love history, and I'm going to bring a lot. This place is going to have a history. Okay, it's going to be familiar looking too.
Now, my understanding is that you've started pilot? Yes?
Yes.
And
Oh, yes.
beyond that?
I had to answer that question.
Yeah, I've
Word more.
yeah, no, I've sort of written the first 6 episodes, first 6 episode arc to see where a lot of these
Right,
characters are, where they're going.
And we also want to
establish the
show
world and stuff. Yeah.
We want to. That's enough, because then you've got to show. If it wasn't easy, but they have to have something to say about it too. You know.
But we also have a full
we have a full picture
5-season
for them.
arc of a very large, plan that we have set up. So, and then we'll add the 6th season, just so we don't talk about 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Right, it upsets me, because that upset me back then, and it upsets me now. I mean, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot again. I didn't have creative input into that last series that I did. And just as we were in our 5th season, which we were very lucky to get, we were on the front of TV Guide. We were suddenly, this little cult TV show was getting mainstream attention, and we ended. I went, what? You know, Gene Roddenberry wouldn't have done that. Would have been. Anyway, that was my argument. We've had that argument together for many years, you know. So, anyway.
The idea of the period piece gives another caveat of difficulty in terms of selling. You got no product placement, which evidently is key to finding.
Exactly, and they're afraid of period pieces yet. They did, Believe me, I fell victim to them.
But Boardwalk Empire, I mean.
Exactly.
Well,
but do you have any ideas on that front?
I mean, also, it's not just about product placement. It's also about, from the network side, it's about what an appropriate advertiser is going to be for that base of, of demographic. So, there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. So having, not as many available product placement options, that's, when Game of Thrones doesn't have that,
Game of Thrones have books, that's their
No, but I
biggest
mean product placement in a Pepsi can, where there's guys
You
drinking.
can't put a Pepsi can in there.
No, you can't.
A box of kicks or something.
Exactly. So we're not going to have that unless they're steampunk kicks and they're covered in gears.
Yeah.
That's really the definition.
Which would be kind of.
No, kidding. Totally
That
kidding.
type of thing.
No, so I mean we'll have.
Nabisco could be interested.
They could be
Yeah, you
interested
never
in
know.
gear-shaped cookies. So we'll talk to them about.
There
We'll
are
talk to them
people
about
making
that.
gear-shaped cookies.
I'm sure that there are. Yeah. So yeah, it's it's all a process when we get
Mind if there
into
was a
production.
little bit of a joke type of thing there, that's something.
Gear cookies.
Like, no, not cookies, but a Nabisco box. Another
National
area.
Biscuit
can't
Company
tell.
was around that long.
Never can tell.
Nabisco was around
Yesterday,
that long, yes.
The airship brownies, and so we have the running joke is basically Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
We're selling
Should you?
eighth or thin mints, so.
Eighth or thin. That's funny. Cool. Anything else?
I'm gonna let some of the other journalists here.
Yeah, Paul, if you want to give us fire off a couple.
I love it, we're
just
look
have
what
about,
look what he's doing here.
Okay.
This is amazing.
First
This
off,
is
of course,
Sean
basic
Peck.
question. How do you guys feel the reaction has been at Dragon Con to Lantern City and everything around the project?
I mean, fantastic. I mean,
Look at you standing here.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. I mean,
No, I mean, we had such a great panel. It was packed, and we had a lot of people come up to us here during the signing, just saying, I think it was a sincere thank you And that's for us, I know for me personally.
I've had it
I
all
think-
weekend over there at the Hall of Fame. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had mentioned it. They were very anxious to come here, just about everybody. I mean, across the board, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
So they're curious about it. Even if they don't know it, they've seen you guys, but they don't, and that's part of what excites me about the project, is to bring something to people that they don't really know about it. I like that. We're so, we've seen everything now. How do you excite an audience anymore? How do you excite an audience?
And also to your point, I think
Take them
for the
someplace.
for the community itself, it's really about, as people are coming by and saying thank you for trying something new that's for us.
And wouldn't you like to watch something in which obviously you
had a part in actually
I had a part in, or at least it's
creating.
So that world that you like, that subgenre there, it's out there being represented.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's fantastic.
What about shows like, Grimm?
Well, we're in this fairy tale thing too that we have once. My buddies Ed and Adam Horowitz over there from Lost.
Yeah.
They do Tron Uprising. They did Tron Legacy. They're working on the next film. They've got that going, and that's up in Vancouver. I mean, I talked to them about this already. When we were at Comic-Con, we dragged everybody from Disney, because Disney is a huge place for me with this too, because I have a long-standing history with them now, an ongoing history, and I already mentioned it to a couple of the producers, the executive producers there, and the head of all production for Disney, Sean Bailey. I talked to him the other night at the premiere of The Odd Life of Timothy Green. And, I will be, when we're ready to go, that's one of the names I'm going to say, Sean, do you have 10, 15, half an hour? I got something for you. Who knows where we can go with this, by the way, too. We're open-ended on all of this. We're saying television, we want television, okay? But I mean, we're open to what comes.
Yeah, I mean, we have,
Maybe
like I said,
interesting.
we've been having some conversations with some of the networks. Disney's on the list. They're not currently in conversation, but as Bruce said, we know a guy that can probably get us in there. His name is Tron. We're hooked up. We're good. We have light cycles and discs and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
So if you were
this
going
way.
to define success here from the beginning, I mean, what is success going to look like with Lantern City?
I think it's a show on television that is community-based, that in all aspects proudly wears, the badge of steampunk.
And a compelling drama.
Yeah.
With
Something
compelling characters that you will want to tune into.
Not just for the community, but for everybody on
Everybody.
television. To
I
really
want
open up steampunk to such a much wider audience, so that when Bruce asks somebody, "What is steampunk?" you have people say it's Lantern City. That's success.
That's success.
Yeah.
But, I know we discussed the inevitability of having to compromise with the networks and whatnot.
Yeah, that's there.
How far, though, are you willing to compromise with the network to get Lantern City on TV?
Just no vampires.
I just don't want any vampires.
Well, we don't. Sorry,
Zombies,
we
okay.
don't.
No magic crystals.
Yeah, we're
No magic
really
crystals
steering
and-
clear of any obstacle and supernatural.
And that's why
elements.
It's a very realist setting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of this. Look at, this is so imaginative. We have to have just a very real approach to this, I think.
There has to be good mythology.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I said Boardwalk Empire.
Right.
Yeah, when we spoke on the phone, I also
And,
mentioned it.
yeah, if they
Crime
say
and
it would be
punishment.
great if Lantern City was populated by human monkeys, probably not going to say yes. We're going to draw the line.
But you know what? You got
Matt might. I'll say no, though. Matt's
This is
gonna
where
say
I will
yes.
step
Yeah,
on there
Matt's gonna
next,
say yes.
okay? 'Cause
I'll make sure not to
I'm
quote
the
him.
one that's been in this battle longer than anybody, and we will compromise what we have to do, but then we will also know how far do we have to.
Sounds like
go
the
to
trailer.
get
I
this
know.
done.
Wow.
I know.
We're
We'll
really
do what we
agreeing.
have to
What
do.
will you do to
And
try
you know
to
what? If we have
Yes.
HBO wants this thing and they were willing to.
Said to you 40
But they
named
said, gotta have
characters,
this,
that's kind of
this, we'll go,
unwieldy.
okay.
No, everyone that's read it loves it, and
Correct.
and so it hasn't been an issue. I think it would be difficult to do without it because you're talking about a city, and the city's a character,
Yeah.
and cities
Like Babylon
don't
5
have
characters.
8 characters. They don't have 40 characters. This is just our start. So it has to be that way. I mean, I would be concerned about compromising that.
But But you know what? These are the battles that have yet to be fought. And they are, believe me. This is a tough game to get into.
Because of him, we fight for the users.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the way it goes.
That's right.
We have to.
What's your timeline looking at the moment?
2014. So we're hoping to be
Summer or fall or?
Undetermined at this time.
We don't have anything that specific on it.
Yeah.
But we'd like to get it. It's going to take at least that long.
It being a hyper-realist setting, not involving, the mystical and everything like that, what sort of real world and, time area-based themes, are you going to explore? I know you said that the main thing was, both of you actually, how far are you willing to go to be with the one you love sort of situation? Are you going to explore themes like poverty, class stratification?
All that's, yes, sir, because that's how rich a world it is. We have to make it like the society we're in,
Yeah, very interested in
very complex and layered.
late 19th century political movements, the small and the big, and really weaving a lot of those things into it, because the city as it exists at the beginning of the show, the first episode is it's ruled by a dictator basically, but things start to happen, and that's very interesting to me.
Like when the old monarchies were still very strong in the Victorian era, obviously Victorian era, but the rumblings of revolution were happening all over the place.
And I think that's also such an underlying theme in steampunk literature is it's adventure based. It's also very heavily political based. So I think that having those elements, hence the literal stratas of the city, are all going to be explored in terms of the different levels of wealth and society.
Yeah, so it works as does best is subversion of the classic moral.
Absolutely.
Because it works as a theme in the story. It also works as a visual theme because it hits you in the head, but it's there.
Right.
And I assume, and this relates also to what Thomas is doing on the project, I assume that these issues will also be explored in the way that technology is presented and used by different levels of.
Well, each class has different technology that they use, and of course, those at the bottom have the least, but they're also the most creative because they're taking the scraps from the top and they're making their own things, which can be very dangerous.
I think that'll
Little
such
Frankenstein
exciting.
Yeah, so great.
Speaking of which,
That Frankenstein there.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
There's Frankenstein.
I'm going to be Steampunk Frankenstein in Vegas in like 4 days.
Not for a gig, just for fun.
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
That's the way he goes to Vegas.
Bruce,
Yes.
you keep saying you go out on the street and you ask people, you say, so what the steampunk thing is, what is steampunk? When someone comes to say, what is steampunk?
Well, that is difficult. That's difficult. It is difficult.
The panel that Tom did, people were arguing over what it is, and it's a slippery slope, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it is difficult
I
to
think
define because it changes with the user and the makers that build it. I mean, everybody. One of the things I was saying before about the social stratas as well is just the fact that you're going to see so many different maker styles of steampunk that you have the very elite steampunk, you have the middle class steampunk, and obviously, like Matt said, this really hyper creative underground as well, and you can put a lot of sort of standard steampunk definitions. It's Victorian technology taken to the next level with adventure and intrigue. Yeah, but at the same time, it's also something that we all build together, and I think that's really part of the important
We're
part.
going to have our definition as opposed to everyone's definition. We're going to say, here's our vision, and
That's why you stumped me at first, because I'm asking that
You're
question.
still building it.
I'm asking that question around to everybody, but still, that term, they go, I've never even heard of that term.
Yeah.
To me, it's a number of things, but it's a subgenre in science fiction. It's been around for quite a long time. I love that term, Victorian futurism. I say Jules Verne, H.G. Wells was the godfathers of this, and just many. And
even Poe.
Alternate history, Poe. Did anyone see that one with Cusack playing Poe? I didn't.
Looked like a mess.
But whenever you're, take your time to wrap up your thoughts, but afterwards you're going to start the hike back to the.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Most of it's downhill.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate
Thank you
your
so
time.
much,
I've got to
guys.
go what I owe
Excellent.
the man.
Thanks, Pablo. Appreciate
Gotta
it.
go work
Look
for the
forward to seeing you
man.
on the site.
But thank you. We're going to define it for you, don't worry.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.